Hi, I'm Paula from Happy Yoga Wales, and this is the last in our chakra series of Yin Yoga practices. And today we're working with the Crown Chakra, located just above the top of the head. And this Crown Chakra is associated with connecting to a higher power. Now that can mean different things for different people. It could mean God, the universe, or it could mean connecting with nature. So we're outside today and I've got some birds singing above me, we've got the wind blowing, so I'm definitely embracing all that nature has to offer. I think I just felt a little drop of rain too. So letting go of that sense of ego and surrendering in our yin postures today. So let's begin in a seated position. And you can sit in any comfortable seat. I'm sitting on blocks here just to allow my low back to lengthen a little bit. And then roll the shoulders back, stacking them above the hips. And bring the hands in front of you so your left palm is down and the right palm just rests inside it. And then just take a few steady breaths here. And as well as connecting with something bigger than us, we're also feeling the sense of connection within ourselves. So as you sit here and start to settle into our practice, just noticing any differences between the left and right sides of your body. And we'll be working with the intention today, or the affirmation, I am guided by a higher power. So breathing easily in and out of the nose, no effort required. And with every exhale, feeling the shoulders relax down a little bit more. Maybe keeping the attention on this area just above the crown of the head. Maybe even visualizing a light there, a bright white light. And just taking a few more steady breaths here. And then when you're ready, take a big breath in. And exhale, sigh out. Lovely. So we're going to come into just about the only standing pose that we have in Yin Yoga, and it's called Dangling. And in Hatha Yoga, it's like a forward fold. So moving any props out of the way. Just come in so the feet are about hip distance apart. You could bring them a little bit wider if that's more comfortable. And bend the knees as much as you need to here until you can rest your torso down on the thighs. And then just straighten the legs, just any amount, until you feel a very gentle stretch through the whole back of the body. So we want this stretch to be even through the calves, the hamstrings, the glutes, and into the spine, letting the head and neck just be heavy. And the hands can dangle like mine are. You could hold opposite elbows here, or maybe even rest your hands down on a block if the floor feels like it's a long way away. And we're going to be here for about 3 minutes. So just settling in and allowing the breath to be nice and easy. And as we hold our postures today, I won't be talking too much through each of them. Just giving you that time and space to connect to something that's bigger than you, bigger than me. Just being guided by your breath and that higher power.
We're just coming into our last few breaths here. Seeing if you can soften a little bit more around the jaw, the neck, the shoulders. Noticing whether you're gripping the toes. And then on your next breath in, fill all the way up with a big inhale. And then gently sigh that out of the lips. And to release from our dangling pose, we're going to come down into a squat. So just turn the toes out slightly at a diagonal and then lower the hips down any amount. You can always pop your blocks or a pillow or blanket underneath the heels here just to give you a little bit more support. We're not going to be here too long. It's just a nice release after that dangling pose, so hopefully this will feel good. You can bring the palms together here, reaching tall through the crown of the head. And if the heels stay lifted, that's absolutely fine here too. And just here for about a minute. And for our last few breaths, just reaching a little bit taller, focusing on that crown of the head. And then slowly releasing the hands down. And we're going to come down onto our back. So in fact, the rest of our postures are going to be from a lying down position, supine position. And we're going to come into a supported fish pose. So if you've got a blanket, then you could roll that up and then place it widthways across your mat. And that's going to go just around the bottom of the shoulder blades around here. If you don't have a blanket, I don't have one today, you could use a block, just making sure it's comfortable. These are nice squishy foam blocks, so these are just about right for me. Otherwise, even a cushion will do, but a blanket is the best thing I find if you have one to hand. So coming down, finding that place just below the shoulder blades, and then settling in there. So we're trying to open up through the chest, and if it's comfortable, letting the head rest down. If not, again, pop a blanket here or another cushion beneath you here. And then with the legs today, we're going to stretch them out long. And if that isn't comfortable, you can keep them so that the feet are flat on the floor underneath the knees. So working with this crown chakra, really thinking about the spine being long and connected, allowing this energy to flow all the way from the base up through the crown. And just allow the shoulders to relax here, opening up through the chest, the upper back and shoulders for just about 3 minutes. As you settle into your fish pose, maybe you want to experiment with bringing the arms overhead. You could even take them out like a cactus, bending at the elbows. And just surrendering here. just taking our last few breaths here. Give yourself permission to let go just a little bit more. And then when you're ready, take a big breath in. Pause at the top and then exhale through the mouth. And so if the arms are overhead, just sliding them back down and then bend the knees one at a time. And just briefly roll over to one side so that you can move your blocks or your blanket out of the way. Keep them nearby though, because we're going to need them for our next pose. So we're actually going to come into a straddle pose with our legs up. So if you've got a wall nearby, then you can do this with the legs up the wall. If not, then you can use your blocks. So what I'm going to do today is just lift the knees in towards the chest and then just gently lift up the hips, not too high, so that I can slide my blocks just underneath my hips. And that just stops the legs from falling back down, so it's not quite as supportive as the wall, but it definitely gives you enough support to really relax and surrender here, which is what we're looking for today. So coming into a straddle, just taking the legs out wide. And you can gently rotate the thighs out away from the center line of the body here, so externally rotating. And then just notice how that changes the stretch. And finding that place that feels good for you. If this feels too intense on the inner thighs, you could keep your hands or arms just on the outside of the thighs for a little bit of support. Otherwise, just resting the hands down next to the hips, or again, taking them overhead if that felt good. You could even bring the palms one on top of the other, just like we did in our seated pose at the start of practice, and rest them just above the crown of the head. Just bringing that awareness to the crown chakra. And then settling in here. If at any point the straddle becomes uncomfortable, just allowing the legs to come back towards each other and taking a regular legs up the wall pose. Got some sounds of nature going on around us here today. just coming into our last few breaths here. Again, softening wherever we can. Just letting go of that need to control. And when you're ready, take a big breath in. Pause at the top, maybe bring a smile to the lips, and then gently sigh it out. And so from here, just bring the hands either side of the thighs if they're not there already, and just gently bring the legs back together. And just pause here for a moment with the legs together, maybe bend the knees and let them come in towards the chest. It might feel nice here to make some little circles. If you've got a block underneath your hips like I do, just moving that out of the way. Allowing the low back and the hips to come back down to the ground. And taking circles in both directions, or just pausing in stillness. And we're going to come into our final pose, our bananasana. So from here, you're going to take your legs out to the right corner of your mat. So both legs go to the right. And then you can stay here, or you can just gently shuffle the shoulders to the right as well. So you want your hips to stay facing square up to the ceiling or the sky. And we're making this nice banana shape with our bodies. So you can just rest here, or again, you can take the arms up overhead. You can even cross that left ankle over the right for just a little bit more sensation. But remember, we're never going to push our bodies as far as they can go. We're just finding that place that feels really good, the gentle stretch. And the reason we do this in our Yin Yoga practice is because when we push too far, the muscles engage. And when the muscles engage, it doesn't allow the stretch to reach the connective tissues. So by backing off just that little bit, we can target the fascia, the ligaments, the joints. And over time, those areas of the body will get stronger and more mobile. So just surrendering here. Last few breaths here. And then take a big breath in. Gently sigh it out. If the arms are overhead, just bringing them back down first. Now if the ankles are uncrossed, releasing them. Bring the feet back underneath the hips just for a moment. And just pause here. You might be able to hear this very noisy pair of starlings. They're directly above me. And then let's take our bananasana on the other side. So straightening out the legs, bringing them over to the left corner of the mat. And again, only going as far as is comfortable and keeping the hips so they face straight up to the sky, the ceiling. And then maybe picking up the shoulders too and taking them over to the left. So the feet and the shoulders are slightly to the left, but the hips are right in the center of the mat. And if you want that little bit extra stretch, taking the arms overhead. Again, maybe folding the elbows or bending the elbows and resting the palms just above the crown chakra here. You might want to cross the right ankle over the left before settling into our pose. Visualizing that white light just above the crown of the head. Our connection to nature, these noisy birds, and all of the universe. And just taking our last few breaths here. And take a big breath in. And exhale, sigh out. And if the arms are overhead, sliding them back down. Uncrossing the ankles. And taking any other movements here that feel good before coming into our Shavasana, or final relaxation. So stretching the legs out long. Bringing the shoulder blades underneath you. And again, maybe resting the hands, one on the belly, one on the heart. Feeling that sense of connection. And saying to yourself one more time here, I surrender to a higher power. And then just slowly deepening the breath, reconnecting with it. Finding any little movements in the body. And when you're ready, bending the knees one at a time, rolling onto one side, and slowly pressing your way up to a seat. And then coming back with the shoulders directly above the hips, reaching nice and tall through the crown of the head. And bringing the hands to heart center. Well, I've definitely connected with nature today. We've had wind, and now it's raining. And our little starlings have decided to be quiet just for the last part of our practice together. So I hope you've enjoyed this Crown Chakra practice. If you have, then please remember to give it a like, and of course subscribe if you haven't already. If you've enjoyed this and you like to do a longer version of this practice and all of my other practices on our YouTube channel, then head over to happyyoga.wales, where you'll find videos in the on-demand library. And I look forward to seeing you again soon on the mat. Namaste.